A little over a month ago, I'm sitting down on my dining room table in my two-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn. And I got this video pulled up, and it's the video of Ahmaud Arbery. And for a long time, I was like, I don't want to watch it. I'm not going to watch it. I've sat with all of this pain, and I felt the whole pain of it for my whole life, and I don't need to watch it. And I'm really focused on not watching it because I know that for all of my oldest son's life, I've been just breathing a hopelessness into him. Like all of my pain has been in me and it's been transferring to him. And just not that long ago, we were actually going to the little bodega, the little corner store by our house, and we walk in, I'm gonna get us a cream soda. Me, him, and his younger brother, we all love cream soda. So I go to the counter and I'm like, wait, do you guys have a card minimum? Because I'm just getting the one thing, and they're like, no card minimum. I'm like, cool. And I go to pay for it, but there's a cop there, and he interjects, and he's like, I'll pay for it for you. And I'm like, no, it's okay, I'll just pay for it. He's like, no, seriously, I'll get it for you. I'm like, okay. Then I let him pay for it, and I walk out of the store with the cream soda, and in my head, I'm thinking, why was he doing that? Like, that was the very first time I've ever had a cop do something nice for me. And it was just really strange to me that he would do that. So I'm trying to search for what's his motive behind this? And all of a sudden I hear my older son, he's like the mini me. And I hear him say, that was weird. And his words, they're so little, but they kind of just strike me. And I realized that my 8-year-old son is now thinking that it's weird that a police officer would do something kind for you, because I've been just telling him one thing after another and telling him about all the pains in my life. So right now, I didn't want to watch the video, but I knew that the social pressure was just building up and I had to watch this video. So I went to my dining room table and I had plugged in my earphones, and I decided I was just going to watch it by myself. It's middle of COVID, so I don't really have a personal space in our 2-bedroom apartment. So I just put the earphones in and I start watching it. And sure enough, I'm pulled into this very dark place, and I'm watching as he's, fighting these men who are surrounding him. And I see as he gets shot, and it's just overwhelming for me. It's pulling me back into all these places, and I'm crying and I'm sniffling, trying to fight off this ugly cry. And my younger son comes out of the bedroom that he shares with his brother, and he walks up to me and he sees that I'm crying, and he's like, can I see daddy? Now my younger son is completely opposite of my older son. He's fine sitting in pain with people. He's an empath, but he's okay with it. So I look down at him, and everybody describes him as like a little John Legend. He's got this golden brown skin, he's got curly hair, and he even has a heart birthmark on the back of his neck. Everybody comments about it. He's like the sweetest kid. And I look down at him, and I was just like, I can't. I tell him, I'll show you later. Let me just watch this for now. And I send him away, and I can see he's kind of disappointed. And as he's walking away, I'm thinking about my brown skin that I share with Ahmaud, and I'm thinking about the brown skin that I passed down to my sons. And it brings me back to when I was 16 years old, and I had decided to run home from school. It wasn't a very far run, so I had done it a few times. I decided to start jogging. And as I'm jogging, I hear this car roll up beside me, and the next thing I know, this cop car pulls right in front of me in the intersection and stops me abrupt. And I'm stopped there, and I don't know what he's doing, and all of a sudden the cop leans out the window and says, "What you running from?" And his words just slap me, that word "from." And I'm just so pissed. Like, if this had just been the first time that this had happened, I would have been like, okay, whatever, maybe he's just out and he's doing his job. But this is not the first time this has happened to me in my own neighborhood. This is not the second time, this is not the third time, this is not even the fourth time. This has happened to me 5 times within 1 mile of this exact spot, and I'm just so pissed. And I look back and I shout, I'm not running from anything, I'm running to my house. And I don't wait for him to say anything, I just run around his cop car and just keep running. And I continue to run, and I'm pissed. But as I'm sitting in my Brooklyn apartment at the table, it really strikes me that for me, I was able to keep running. I just ran home. And for Ahmaud, that was the very last run he went on. And I just feel so guilty that I was able to run away. And I was so guilty that I have this story that I've never shared with anyone. And I know that I have to share it. I can't just hold on to it because Ahmaud can't share his story anymore, so I have to share mine. But I'm just not ready to share it right now, so I jam my phone into my pocket. I try and wipe away the tears and compose myself. My sons are waiting in their room to play some Roblox, and I'm just like, I'll deal with this later. I'll share it later. I've talked to them about race before, but I just don't want to talk about it now. And I walk into their bedroom, and I crouch down on their blue and white area rug in their room, and my older son is sitting on his brother's bunk bed on the bottom. And I'm so glad. He looks up at me and he's like, "You ready to play, Dad?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like, we just get to play this little Roblox game. We can just be kids for a little bit. We don't have to worry about anything. I pull out my phone to start getting ready to play the game. And my older son again asked, "Why were you crying anyway?" And his words just like surprised me, even though I had just been crying, but I just didn't expect him, of all people, to want to know why I was crying. Because he is just like me, and he tries to push things away. So when he asked me that, I tried to think of a way I could not have the conversation. I thought, what white lie can I come up with to just tell them so I can deal with this later? But I can't think of a single lie. I can't think of a single excuse that equates to this level of agony that I was just in. And I know that I have to share this with them, that I just have to do it now. And I pull them in closer. I get close to my son on the bed, and I pull my younger son in, and I start to search on my phone. And I look, and I know that I can't show them the video. It's just too much. So I find a little audio clip of somebody explaining what happened, just the explanation. And I tell them, "This is going to be painful, but I need to share this with you." And I push play. And within 10 seconds, my older son is on the bottom bunk, and he's plugging his ears. He's closing his eyes, and he's shaking on the bed. And he's just in so much pain. And I can hear on the inside of him just saying, "No, no, no, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off." And I pause it. And I look at it and I tell him, "It's really heavy, isn't it?" And he nods his head. And my younger son looks over at me. He says, "What do you mean heavy, Dad?" He's just 5 years old, so of course the word heavy probably was not the right word to use there. And I get a little closer to him, and I touch him on his shoulders, and I touch him on his chest, and I say, "I mean, the weight of it. You can feel how painful it is and how sad it is. You can feel it on your chest, on your shoulders, right? You understand what I mean?" And he nods. And his older brother says, "He probably knows what we're feeling because we're crying and we're sad, but maybe he doesn't fully understand, Dad." And I say, "Yeah, you're probably right. And maybe you guys are too young to deal with this, but I know that no matter if you're able to understand it or not, that you've felt this pain before. And pretending like it's not there is not going to make it go away. Because when I was little, that's all I did. I was just like you. I would close my ears, I would close my eyes, and I would shake and just wait for it to go away. And it never goes away." And when I tell him that I pack away the pain on the inside, my older son sits up and he seems a little bit more excited. And he's like, "But Dad, packing it on the inside, that would just make it worse because now you have to carry all of the pains at the same time." And I'm like, oh my gosh, this 8-year-old knows what I just learned recently. And I'm like, "Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I don't want you guys to turn out like me. And that's why I'm sharing this pain with you now, because I don't want you to think that we hide from pain and we bury it away." And my older son looks up again and he says, "Dad," and I hear a little quiver in his voice. He's like, "I felt the pain a little earlier this year when somebody on the school bus called me poop." And I'm just angry, but I sit with him there and I know what the anger is. The anger is my pain that I'm trying to deal with. And instead of getting angry, I sit with him in the pain and I tell him, "I can hear the pain in your voice and I know just how you feel. I can remember the first time somebody looked at me and said that my skin was like the color of poop too." And he's actually no longer really heavy and his voice is no longer quivering. He's sitting up taller and I'm sitting a little lighter too. And I see my younger son is sitting lighter too. And now we're just sitting in this group connected as we're just sharing discriminations, which seems kind of strange because it's strange to me that a 5 and an 8-year-old would have this on them already. But I know I was 6 years old the first time I experienced it. So of course they know already. And I thought that the way that you dealt with pain is just to push it down and hide it away. And my 8 and 5-year-old sons, they helped me realize that when you tuck your pain away, it actually just gets worse and worse. And the pain actually never goes away. But if you speak about it and you release it, you can at least feel connected with the people around you who know what you feel. Thank you.